Call to order.
Roll call. Ms. Albrook. Present. Ms. Calderon. Mr. DeCosta.
Present.
Ms. Coffinger.
Here.
Mr. Lombardi. Mr. Luna. Ms. Ryan.
Here.
Ms. Dunn.
Here.
Ms. Gomez.
Here. Okay, pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the
flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board statements. In accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law, the New Milford Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof in the record, New Milford Public Library, New Milford Borough Hall, and the main office of all New Milford Public Schools. The board announces that under its long-standing policy, it will not discuss in public any comments made by members of the public concerning individual staff members. At this time, please be advised that all cell phones and electronic devices are to be turned off. Meetings of the board are open to the public, and all members of the community should feel free to participate. Before coming to the board, the chain of command should be followed. There are two portions of the meeting reserved for comments from the public. The first at the beginning of the meeting for agenda items only, and the second at the end of the meeting for other items. Issues raised by the public may or may not be responded to by the board, but all comments will be considered. The board requests that all members of the public be mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Due to confidentiality and legal rights afforded by the state of New Jersey, members of the public are asked to not speak negatively or in a derogatory manner about any employee of the board or any student. Okay. Is there a presentation?
Not tonight, we're doing the NJSLA like tomorrow.
Perfect. Superintendent of Schools report, Peter Colasso.
All right, good evening, everyone. Nice to see you again. All right, we have a couple things on the agenda that I'd like you to take a look at. First, under board action, I'm seeking board approval of the September suspension report. New Milford High School, 2 students were suspended for a total of 4 days. 1 student served a 1-day in-school suspension. The other student served 3 days of out-of-school suspension. In Davie Owens Middle School, 3 students were suspended for a total of 4 days. 2 students served 1 day of in-school suspension. 1 student served 2 days of out-of-school suspension. In Berkeley, 2 students were suspended for a total of 2 days. Both served 1 day of in-school suspension. And Gibbs, 0 suspensions. I'm also seeking board approval of the September-October HIB report. There was one 338 form. So a 338 form is whenever we want, or somebody feels that an HIB should be triggered for an investigation, they fill out a 338 form and submit it to the building principal. So there was one 338 form for an alleged HIB submitted to the high school principal. The principal determination treated as a code of conduct, so it did not go through as an HIB. There was one 338 form submitted for an alleged HIB at Berkeley School. Principal determination, again, treated as code of conduct. And there was one 338 form submitted for an alleged HIB at DEO Middle School, which was sent to the ABS for investigation. That HIB was unfounded, but we'll discuss that. I'm seeking approval for the HIB self-assessment survey that is mandatory for all schools under the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act. So every year, the school climate team has to get together and they rate their school. They grade their school based on a rubric from the state. Every school, public school in the state has to do this. They are graded on 8 core elements and each have indicators, and they give themselves a 0 to a 3. Last year's 2023-2004 school year self-assessment are as follows. New Milford High School scored a 76 out of 78, DEO a 73 out of 78, Berkeley 73 out of 78, and Gibbs 73 out of 78. Items that resulted in differences are reflected in the amount of PD afforded to the staff, and then the school climate teams will look at the self-assessment survey from last year, and when they have their current safety teams, they will look at like how can we improve, do we need more PD based on what was happening and based on the self-assessment. So these scores will help guide initiatives in each of the schools. I'm also seeking approval for a resolution to be passed recognizing 2 of our students, Eden Clark and Sebastian Kamaj. We'll formally recognize them tomorrow. But they did really well in a national competition. So they have a stock market game in the middle school, and then they invest fake money, and then they write an essay, and then they submit this essay nationally. And we had 2 winners from the middle school nationally. One took first place in the nation and first place in New Jersey, and the other one placed 3rd place in the nation. So we had 2 winners. So we'd like to do something special for them. They got a free pizza party on Invest Right, which was good. I mean, they got $750. One got a laptop. So all crazy, awesome stuff. But we'd like to honor them tomorrow at the board meeting, so we created some resolutions. Ms. Gomez signed them, and we're going to present to them. One family I know is coming. Mrs. Daly Picardo's coming, the teacher, so it should be a good time. We have to celebrate these things, so I'd like to recognize them. I'm also going to seek board approval for the school nursing plan. So pursuant to NJAC 6A16-2, each district board of education shall annually adopt a school district nursing services plan at a regular meeting. And it's just basic nursing services to make sure we are providing the provisions we need to all of our students in each of our schools. Our district doctor signs off on each of the plan annually, and that happened this year. Under personnel, I'm seeking approval for our Play Unified coaches. I am very excited to see this program in play. The Play Unified program is funded through the Unified Champions School Grant, which allocates $4,000 for coaches and supervision, so it's also free to us. I also like that word. And students with disabilities team with our gen ed students, and on the same team they'll compete with other districts. Right now, last year they competed in basketball, but we're hoping to add flag football to that as well. I'm really excited to see it. I've heard nothing but good things, and I thank the coaches for making this happen and for investing the time to get the grant. Coaching, I'm seeking approval for the winter and spring coaches. Mr. Riccadelli did a great job getting everything together. You will see, as per our coach contract, our coaches accrue longevity, so in the 7th year of coaching they'll get more money, and in the 13th year they'll get more money based on if they're a head coach or an assistant coach. So you will see that all the stipends are listed now. We are still looking for an assistant middle school track coach. If you know anybody, please let Coach Riccadelli know. But we will have it filled, we are confident. Under finance and facilities, I am seeking approval for a contract with Care Plus drug screening. So we met with Care Plus and they offered the contract, and it's not a contract where we sign and we owe that money right away. It's just a contract where if we need to, we send a student to them for drug screening in case we have a suspicion, mostly in the high school. And we pay per child or per situation. So there's actually an $8 difference, I believe, between the contract now and the contract we want to go to with Care Plus and who we use now, which is not a lot. We feel like we get more with Care Plus. No disrespect to Valley. We think the turnaround time is going to be a little faster, which is very important when you're dealing with these things in terms of code of conduct and dealing with parents. So we're guaranteed 24 to 48-hour turnaround time, but also they will do assemblies for our children where they come in and talk about drug addiction and how to live a healthy lifestyle. So that's all for free, as long as we send kids there. So I think it's a no-brainer because we also contract with Care Plus with some of our counseling services as well. So it's a good relationship we have. They haven't let us down. We have a great working relationship with them, so it's kind of a no-brainer. And then under policy, we are ready. Strauss S. Mailer 233 is ready for a second read. We are going to visit 2 other policies in the coming board agendas. I'm hoping for November. We're going to look at the NJSA Spectator Code of Conduct, which we'd like to get approved as a policy, and it is actually mandated that we do so for everybody in the NJSIA for the state. And we'd also like to revisit the co-curricular and athletic participation policy to make sure it's congruent with our vision. That is it for the work session. That's it. Have a nice night.
Thank you. Acting Business Administrator Report, Bruce Watson.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'll say that as well. Nice to see you. In front of you, you have 3 documents. The work session agenda, which I put some on the back table for our guests. You can grab them off the table if you want one. There's a draft of tomorrow night's agenda. I say draft because it may change. But this way you can look at what we have in motions and as we talk about them, have something to refer to. And also I gave you a chart which I'm going to go over. So let me talk about a few things that I have on the agenda for tomorrow, but I really would like to discuss them tonight. First of all, you have in front of you the chart. Let's go to the chart first. And the chart is 2 pages, and I did this to kind of keep the board informed. The roofing projects are going very well. Let me give you a report on both. First of all, Gibbs is totally done. We've completed the Gibbs roofing project. Tomorrow night you will approve the last payment to the contractor. Now, that's important. Not only that they did the job, we want to pay them, but once we make the last payment, I can then apply for the final 70% of state aid. I can't apply until we make the final payment and get the write-off from the architects. So the process working with the SDA and the State Department on getting our ROD grant state aid is quite thorough and also not very well received by many of us. All right, so what I have is a breakdown. I actually have to send in paperwork. This is just to give you an idea, each time I send something in, this is about the thickness of the packet. And I sent on each one. It's ridiculous, but that's what they want. So in order to get 10% of our ROD grant, we first apply for the completion of the design phase. That's the architectural phase. Once we complete 35% of the completed construction, we can then apply for another 30% of our state aid. By the way, I've done all of this. We still haven't received anything. They tell me it's coming, but obviously they move like a snail. Once we complete 65% of completed construction, we get 40% in the state aid. More substantial completion is when you're looking to finalize with your punch list, as they call it. That's another 15, and then finally, when you're 100% completed, you get 100% or the balance, which is around 5%. If it worked that way, unfortunately, they lay this all out. It doesn't go that smooth. So I've applied for another. They keep telling me, well, if you wait and you get this, then we'll give you a little more, but they don't send the money. So I did get confirmation of 2 things. One, $540,000. It is in, and by the way, they have 4 levels of review. So this is what takes them so long. And right now it's in legal, which is the next to last, and then payment. So they have to go through all of this. We're on time, we're very aggressive. The gentleman I'm working with, they have, and I think Peter was in a meeting when I had the first roofing inspector from the SDA. He's working on projects that are 10 years old. So people have not completed some of their projects with their paperwork for 8 to 10 years. I will tell you,
Bruce, the inspector has been doing it for years. He was very impressed how New Milford handled it. Bruce had it set up, Mr. Watson had it set up perfectly. You had the architect there, you had everything there, and he was very impressed, and it went very, very smoothly because of it.
well, let's see, it's because they promised me we're going to get this money soon, so we'll see how much I impressed them. But anyway, if knowing that, I'd like to take you to the first page of the handout. On the top it says Capital Reserve Recap. So just so the board knows, when you look at the opening balance in your capital reserve account on July 1 of 23, we had $3,756,345. We also had at that same time committed $979,000 to our capital projects fund. So that's where you get the transfer. You transfer money out of capital reserve to your operating budget, which is called Capital Projects Fund 12. Now that's how we started in July 1 of 23. As we go forward in the 23-24 school year, we used $150,000 of that $979 to complete roof work at Berkeley. The balance of that is the $829. So we didn't use any more, so as we go to the end of the year in 24, we add that back in, and now we have a balance of $4,585,345. Okay, what happens next? You had your ROD grant applications, and we have, in a ROD grant, you have to show the state how you're going to fund the projects from local dollars before they even consider giving you state aid. So like most districts, I know Milford said we're going to use our capital reserve funds. And then whatever state aid we get back, we will reimburse and replenish the capital reserve for that amount of money. So having a $4,585,000, we then transferred, we meaning New Milford, $3,523,010 to capital projects, and we began with the bidding and went out and started our roofing projects. That left us a balance of the $1,062,000. So now what happens? What happens is we haven't received any money yet, and I have to make a final payment. Remember that the architect's costs are all built in as well. It's not just the construction, but it's the architect. All right, we have to pay both out of this. So on the agenda tonight, you have, well, tomorrow, there'll be a motion to transfer the last bid, which is $212,000. Now, that would then adjust our capital. I just saw a typo. That will adjust our capital to $849 as of the day after we make that approval. So what's going to happen? By the end of the year, we should receive our state aid through ROD grant. You'll get $176,000 and change for Gibbs. We should get $1,200,000, now almost $1,300,000 for the high school. And we should be coming back to $2,300,000 in capital reserve without making a dedication, because you don't know that yet, of how much you're going to take from the 23-24 school year and earmark it to capital reserve. See, what happens is years ago there was a law in the books that said when you get to June, in the month of June, you must declare how much money you're going to put in capital reserve. And that obviously depends on how much money do I have left uncommitted, et cetera, because you have to make sure there's money there to cover your accounts payables going forward that you haven't paid yet, or even the encumbrances, which you haven't received the goods for, but the POs are out, so you have to estimate all that. Well, recently, most districts, like New Milford, passed a generic motion, which you did, saying that we will transfer to capital reserve up to a dollar amount, I think it was like $3 million was the cap, depending on where our balance is. So we don't know where our balance is until the auditors come in. They're supposed to start next month. So what I'm telling you is you'll probably wind up giving some money to your capital reserve account. We don't know how much yet. So it can only go up. So the estimate I have there, which is pretty factual, it's $2,323,000. That will probably be higher, so you should have some more money. Now, then we're going to have to take some out and reappropriate because the third project, ROD grant, was not approved yet. We're working on that, and they're giving us a hard time a little bit, but I'm trying to straighten out the paperwork. And that's the mechanical in the auditorium, HVAC air, all right? So that will have to be. So overall, I'm saying you're going to be okay, as you look forward, even though right now, it looks like $849, you have that money coming back. So I wanted to share that. If you go to the next page, just give you a little bit of a recap. The first column with the numbers, you have JDS, that's the contractor for the high school. Solutions is your architect. So those two columns go together for expenditure. Then you have Sky, which is the contractor for Gibbs, and Solutions again. So if you look at it, the original contract for JDS was $2,880,000. We had a change order, increase it by 41. Revised contract was $2,009,000. All right, so that's a little more than we thought. And then we pay out $2,537,000. So we're holding $383,000. And I have a date of October 30th where the architects are coming out, and we're going to meet with the contractor and do the punch list on the high school. Now we have the metal ordered, and that should be coming in either tomorrow or the next day. And then we'll start doing the metal, which is the fascia and some of the gutters and leaders and all of that kind of work. Once that's done, which it should be done before October 30th, we do the punch list, and then we make a final payment, get all the outstanding paperwork. Obviously, there's closeout documents that you have to make sure you get the right one. That's your warranties and all your coverages, your bond releases, etc. All right, so if you look at that, so the roof, then you have the $2,500,000, we're holding $383,000. Solutions architect, The budget was 321, we've paid them 280, we have 40,000 left. There will be a payment to bring them down to close out amount. They don't get paid totally until we close out the contract. If you look at Gibbs Roof, same thing. However, we had a net change order, so a deduction, 17,000, brings us down to 373, and obviously we made the payment after tomorrow night. This is taken in consideration tomorrow. We're done. And then Solutions, we're making a payment, but I'm still holding 89 until I get all my paperwork from them. So, not that I don't trust them, but it's just a control thing. You don't want to let money go unless you have everything you want in the file. So that gives you a little rundown on the roofs. Anybody have any questions on this? Okay, so the next thing is you have your motion tomorrow night, which is BA 24-25.24. That is the what they call the CMP, Comprehensive Maintenance Plan, and the M1. It's a 3-page document which you have to submit by November 15. We'll have it done a little early. And you have an attachment that you can then go with a link. You can go and look at it. But basically what it does, those 3 documents, it gives you a number of years of actual expenditures of what we spent in this district on maintenance and what we expect to spend going forward. They want that. The first page, those numbers tie into 2 very important line items. If you look at the New Jersey state budget that you submitted to the state when you adopted the budget, all right, so it's the state budget. There's 2 numbers on here that tie into, one, the appropriation, the capital projects line, and it also ties into your maintenance reserve. And if you look on, well, you don't have it in front of you, but tomorrow you'll see on the first page, it's the one of the yellow pages is the smaller one, the other one has the more columns. It'll tell you that there's a reserve account of maintenance reserve of $647,000. That's what we started with, so that does tie in. I checked all of that. I also have some, by the way, I don't do this by myself. All of this is, you have a lot of nice people. My administrative assistant, Kate, she helped me with this. She does some of the work, I do some of it, as we do with all of the people in the office. We share and help each other, so thank goodness we have a good staff. The last page is really a summary per school of the amount of money we're budgeting or what we actually spent the year before, and then what did it cover? What are the items it's covering? So the one item this year at the high school is review and updates to our cafeteria. Unfortunately, we did that because if it wasn't in the, well, I just put it in. If you don't have that in your plan, remember we made the transfer to use food service money to cover it first, and we replenished it, we did all of that. If it's not shown in this plan, then you're going to write up in the audit you couldn't do it. It's like capital reserve. Anytime we appropriate money out of capital reserve, the projects that you appropriated for must be in your long-range facility plan. You can't just appropriate money. It's got to be previously approved down to the state, and you're there. So we're covered in both of those. Stop me if you have a question. Okay. I have on here, just in the notes, standard operating procedures called the SOP manual. Because we're going into New Jersey CUSAC, we have what is called, every school should have, they don't all have, I can tell you that right now, but they should have an SOP manual, which is a pretty thick manual, and it's all about the internal controls on accounting, on cash handling, on your technology. There's a number of things. Yours has not been updated since 2017, so I'm taking that. I met with my staff, and we're taking every section and we're going to update it, so it will be updated when you adopt it. I'd like to get this done for November because I could answer questions because we're doing it. I don't want to not be here when you have questions for that. That's an aggressive timeline. I'm not sure I'm going to get it done by, but the lead would be December. So we want to get this updated for New Jersey CUSAC, and we should get an A grade because of having it updated and everything else. So we have all the operations and their procedures. Now, some of the procedures, I'm going to talk to the various schools because they don't follow them, but they will follow them after I talk to them and show them what they need to do. And people just need communication. Not that they refuse, but that some of them didn't know how to handle things. So we're going to meet with principals, et cetera, and do all of that. Just let you know we're working on that document. And the last thing is, there'll be the last payment of $5,225. That's on F24-25.95, and that's $5,225. That's the very last payment we have to pay for all of that work we did in the kitchen to get us opened up on time. And that's really to the extent of what I have to share.
Any questions? Okay. Assistant Superintendent Report, Lauren Odoxta.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I have a few important updates for you tonight. I'm going to start off with some of our assessment information. So at this time, we have successfully completed our fall benchmarking assessments with only a few remaining students scheduled for makeups. As a reminder, we benchmark at least three times a year, and it's an important process in evaluating students' academic progress, skill development, and performance at the start of the school year. We will benchmark again in the winter, and then finally in the spring before we take our standardized assessments. This year, we are continuing to use AimsWeb for our students in grades K through 2, as well as Linkit for students in grades 3 through high school. These assessments serve and provide valuable baseline data, enabling us to monitor students' progress and identify any areas where they may require additional support or even enrichment opportunities throughout the school year. And our teachers use this data to fine-tune and tweak their instruction, and it really helps them address and specifically meet the needs of each of our students. In addition to benchmarking, this year our second graders all took the InView assessment, which is a cognitive abilities assessment in September. The InView measures skills that are essential for academic success, including verbal reasoning, quantitative reasoning, sequences, analogies, and contextual verbal reasoning. When combined with other evaluation methods, this data offers a more comprehensive understanding of a student's abilities and their performance. This is one of the important measures and one of the pieces of the puzzle that we use when we look at identifying students for specialized programming, including elementary gifted and talented, such as our REACH program. Last month, you should have received the 24-25 parental notification of standardized assessments. This document went out via Parent Square. It was a document and there was a pretty comprehensive table attached to it. It informs parents and guardians about statewide and standardized assessments that will be administered throughout the school year. It includes the content area or subject area that each of the assessments covers, the grade levels involved in the testing, time allotment for completion of the assessment, accommodations and accessibility features for students, resources for parents and students, including practice tests and sample questions that they can, sit for a mock test and practice taking it, and then information as to whether the assessment is required or mandated by federal, state, or local authorities. Program planning, we're already thinking about 25-26 and what that school year will bring. I know that, I believe at the last meeting you talked a little bit about the budget timeline.
Yes.
Talked about that. So I will be meeting in the coming months with teams across all grade levels to begin program planning for next school year. During these sessions, we closely review existing programs and identify key next steps, which include selecting new curricular materials and resources, proposing new courses, exploring specialized training opportunities such as AP training, which we do each year with new teachers, and refining our program of study. It's an ongoing process that will allow us to continue aligning our planning with budget processes for next school year. At the middle school, this is important to note, we are particularly focused on exploring new core mathematics programs. So the Connected Math program, which we have used for several years now, which has served us well, it will no longer be updated and has reached the end of its life cycle. So we are beginning that process of actively researching potential replacements that will better support our students and our teaching moving forward. Additional information in regards to this process will be shared as we move along in the process. CUSAC, so as part of our ongoing preparation for the CUSAC review, the district has begun actively engaging and evaluating and aligning our instruction and program components to meet the state's high standards. This includes a thorough review of all curriculum, aligning that to the NJSLS, or ensuring that it is aligned, because we have approved that previously, as well as our assessment practices and instructional strategies across all grade levels. We are focusing on key areas such as literacy, math, science, and special ed programming, ensuring that they all reflect current best practices and meet the diverse needs of our student population. We're also finalizing data collection for INRS plans, which will demonstrate our targeted interventions and supports. We'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow evening when we do our testing presentation. Our goal is really to ensure that we not only meet but exceed expectations in the instruction and program domain, positioning our district as a model of academic excellence and student-centered learning, which we have done in years past when we've undergone the review. Some exciting news to share for parents. We are excited to announce a free virtual workshop for parents and caregivers hosted by Teachers College this Thursday, October 7th at 7 p.m. It is virtual. You can log in from anywhere. And the presenter is actually the staff developer who works with our teachers in 3rd through 12th grade English language arts. The session will focus on how to support students as they craft their college essays. Topics will include tips on providing constructive feedback and key insights into what matters most in the admissions process. In addition, our staff developer, her name is Coley Conter, will be hosting a similar workshop exclusively for New Milford seniors during the school day. I believe we're still finalizing the date. We're looking at October 28th. And we're hopeful that that will aid our students in refining their essays and finalizing their college applications. The Teachers College, the Advancing Literacy Department at Teachers College hosts free family workshops throughout the school year. I will be sending out in the coming days a link that will share these resources with you via Parent Square. We encourage you to take advantage of these opportunities to help support your student at home. If you can join on Thursday, I know that that will be wonderful. Coley Contra is an excellent resource and a valuable support to our entire faculty. We're excited this year to welcome 50 freshmen into the academies at New Milford High School. Membership in the academies at NMHS is acceptance-based and includes a thorough review process. Some of the factors that impact decision-making include course history, class schedules, demonstrated academic performance, and also attendance records. We hope that this opportunity encourages our students to focus on courses aligned with their chosen areas of concentration and to actively participate in the activities that will support their continued success and membership in the academies. Two items that I'd like to point out and draw your attention to on the agenda. Tomorrow evening, we will be seeking approval for our band students to participate in an upcoming trip to Williamsburg, Virginia, where they will compete in the Spring Festival later this year. That is C2425.17. This festival offers an opportunity for our students to showcase their musical talents while competing with other schools on a regional level. The trip is a long-standing tradition that not only supports our students' artistic and musical growth, but also fosters a sense of teamwork, discipline, and pride in their accomplishments. More details on the itinerary and logistics will be provided as plans are finalized, but we're confident that this experience will leave a lasting positive impact on all of those who participate. We're also going to be seeking approval for Academy students to participate in a college tour trip, which will be designed to explore the diverse academic offerings of schools within the tri-state area. These trips have been very successful in the past, and we're proud to have students leave us upon graduation and go to schools that they were first exposed to on a trip in their time in the academies. Potential stops, we're still waiting to finalize the plans, will include Scranton, Cornell, Marist, SUNY New Paltz, Syracuse, SUNY Cortland, SUNY Albany, and Siena College. Planning is ongoing. We will share more details as we have those schools finalized. The trip will be scheduled for 2 nights and 3 days, and it will take place March 5th through March 7th. I know that when they are on the trip, students will participate in different cultural experiences and events that will enhance their travel, but it will also include different opportunities such as that they'll experience when they go to college, such as their college meals on campus, and also essay writing workshops to help them prepare for their application process. I'd like to extend my gratitude to Ms. Williams and the Assistant Academy Coordinators for their dedicated efforts in continuing to organize these impactful trips for our high school students. It offers them an opportunity to get outside of New Milford, think a little bit bigger, see new things, and have them start thinking about plans after graduation. It really ignites excitement and aspiration for life after high school. So thank you to our team. And that concludes my report for tonight.
Thank you. Any questions?
I did.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, because I was writing this down, and I was writing things and I missed it. You said something replacing program?
Math.
That's
So our
I
middle
thought you
school
said that,
math
and I was like,
program.
maybe I wrote that wrong.
So we're starting the program planning process, which is part of our budget development. We meet with, we look at program pre-K through 12 comprehensively each school year in preparation of the budget. This year, we're paying particular attention to middle school math, our core program, because it's no longer going to be updated as it's reached its end of life cycle. We're engaging in that process.
How does the math program end the life cycle? Like, doesn't it grow?
Publishing companies kind of go out with the old and in with the new. I think it's part of their marketing and business strategy. I've never worked for one of those companies, so I can't speak, to the business side of it, but in my experience, I've seen things reinvent themselves. A lot of the programs, and I think that's part of the challenge when you're looking at different programs, they are all aligned to the standards. They have similar components in terms of differentiation options and supplemental resources, but there's something that just sets them off a little bit to appeal to a greater audience, in hopes that some districts will align with them. So there's a lot of things that we look at. We consider our elementary programming and then our feeding into the middle school and what that continuum looks like. Teacher input is very important, right? Teachers who are on the kind of in the trenches and living it and working with the kids. So it will be a comprehensive process, and we'll update you in future meetings.
So when you say not updated, I'm interpreting it this way, that all the materials they provide, the different stuff online, whatever support they offer, they're like, we're going to do things differently, so all that stuff you had
just stays.
We're not gonna update it, just stay ahead of this from now
Correct.
on, and we're gonna, yeah.
So we've
You
talked
still
to
use it,
several.
but it's not going to progress.
I have experience with multiple programs, and like a lot of the digital resources aren't accessible. They just stop even giving you access to them. So, and then a lot
They
of.
force you to buy different.
Yeah, they force you.
We often talk about the updates in the standards
Yeah.
from the state.
Oh,
Every
yeah.
2 years,
Yeah.
they update the standards, so the content will not be updated to align with the new standards. We just, in 2023, the new math standards were released. So we're kind of in a place where we're looking at, right? We revised our curriculum to meet these new expectations, and now we want to make sure that we have the appropriate materials to support that instruction.
Thank you. Liaison board committee reports. I just want to bring up, I attended the School Boards Association county meeting, I think Nicole did too, and a big thing was AI, and Cheryl's SMA is bringing out new policies for AI for schools, so it's something that we should think about as a board, how we want to implement that in our own schools. Does anyone else have anything regarding any board committee reports? No? So, you want to say?
No, I'm just thinking for school boards, there may be, for those of you attending offerings, I would imagine.
Yeah.
With AI and generative AI, is there, referring to it, which would probably be helpful in running that process.
Yeah, it was the superintendent. It was a great presentation, just how like the pros and cons of why it could be used in a bad way, but why it can be used in a good way, and how we want to make sure that it's used properly in our own district. Okay, any correspondence?
I didn't get anything.
Okay. Agenda items for discussion. Review of the tentative agenda for the regular meeting to be held on September 18th. Any questions regarding review of board action? Any questions regarding review of educational programs and curriculum? None? Any review of personnel recommendations? Tony?
I have a couple. My apologies. I would like to know the difference between a latchkey aide and a night care staff member. Are they in the same program? Is latchkey something different? That's my first question. And my second question regarding 2425.64, the instructional assistants. Are these replacing people? Or are these new positions?
So I believe these are new positions that hadn't been filled yet, that we are just hiring based on need. As far as the latchkey versus night care, that's a great question. Lauren, do you have any idea about that?
So prior, I think it's just, they use the old, we used to call night care used to be called latchkey. I think it was just an old, yeah, a typo, no term.
Okay.
So it just needs to be fixed. If it's-
I guess the question mark would be two different
Yeah,
agenda items then.
because they're paid differently, 18 to 30 to 25, so I'll follow up with you with an email tomorrow about what's going on with that, Mr. Albert.
Any other questions, Tony? Any other questions for anyone else regarding personnel? No? Any questions regarding review of finance and facilities? Okay. Any questions regarding review of athletics and co-curriculum? No? Any review of policy?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just having a moment. I just wanted to thank
Yeah.
all the, for the athletics and co-curricular. If the board looks at the list, it's all volunteers, so I just want to thank them for their services and towards the students. and our
That's
teams.
great, that's great. Thank you. Anyone have regarding any with policy questions? No? Any old business? Paige?
Question, if we know the status of the historical plaque, I'm asking because it just popped into my head, I swear.
I asked her
the other day.
I actually asked about that this evening. I
Okay.
asked her, council member, an update, and
We'll give her, we have
have to
2
reach
minutes
out
and
to
we'll get to her.
Okay.
Okay,
I didn't know it was on you, I thought it was on us.
well, both. Any new business?
No, still on old business item.
Oh, sorry.
I have a question on how the busing has been going this year. We made a lot of changes And I know the bus, there was an issue with the bus, physical bus, but also just in terms of the bus routes, timeliness, sports, if they've been able to get to where they need to get to on time. Just curious if any of that, if we have status on how that's going.
Yeah, I can answer in the way you asked. Let's try first busing. We've had mechanical problems with 4 buses. 2 of them out of service twice in time. One was out for over 2 weeks, one was out about 8 days. We had to double up, and the drivers did great. We doubled up, we transport everybody, we called the principals. The principals were great. They would say, all right, we'll hold. You'll be here in 10 minutes, so they held all the students, and then the bus would drop off, come get them. So the first 2-3 weeks were tough, quite frankly, and expensive. It was a lot of damage. Why, I don't know, but we had a lot of problems mechanical with your buses, our buses. So that's that. The routes are going very well. We have one major problem, in my estimation, we're trying to work out for a single student. And we're working on that with the parent. Other than that, the rest of the routes are running very well. And you had a third. What was the third part?
Sports.
Sports. So far, so good. We have one challenge, and that's getting our buses to have our cross-country team on time. There were 4 events at what is that? Not the Great Falls. Garrett Mountain. And they get there, the only way we can coordinate is we get them there about an hour early, maybe even an hour and 10 minutes early. And other than that, everything else seems to be going okay with the sports.
Wait, so they have to leave to be there an hour earlier than the meet to get there on time?
That's correct.
Correct, because it's not like any other sport that has officials and then one team comes, they wait for you. But in track, you have, it's like a group event. So when that gun goes off, they go, and you're not gonna have, 5, 6, 7 teams waiting for one bus. So you either get there early or you don't go. And
So how early would it
so I think they leave
Well,
around.
we get them there, like I said, it's at least an hour and 15 minutes earlier. But that's more because we don't have enough buses to run the route. To get them there exactly on time where they should be, we have to hire buses, and very expensive. So talking to the AD spoke to the coaches, and everybody's fine, and it seems to be working and worked out.
And are our teams arriving late? You just said something about that. Are we arriving late
No.
to events?
No, we are actually, I'm getting pretty good feedback. Listen, occasionally it might happen, a
No,
little
so
bit
far
late.
we're doing fine.
But overall, I haven't gotten any negative emails regarding that, and usually sports are, high priority for a lot of parents and officials. I haven't heard anything, and sometimes it's a nightmare. Sometimes school districts will get to us at 5 o'clock, and we'd start an hour later. Tony, you're shaking your head, but so far, I think everything's been going pretty well. I haven't heard any complaints.
Yeah, I agree. We haven't gotten anything except for that Garrett Mountain
So when you
thing.
say complaints, you mean from parents?
From anybody.
So
Well, usually what happens is the coaches are the first.
Yes.
They'll tell us. Joe, they'll go through Mr. Riccadell, and he'll come down and let us know when there's a problem. And we've talked many times so far, and he hasn't brought up anything, so
Yeah,
that's what I go on.
If anybody hears anything, let me know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let us know.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for old business?
Did the board, I know I missed the last board meeting, but did the board meet with the pilot committee? Do we have any updates regarding that?
We met once only before that meeting.
And Cheryl gave you a report at that meeting, right after.
Yeah.
She said.
Because I thought we would, because we talked about giving things physically, because there's, we have to make sure that we're keeping up on that, people miss meetings here and there.
I mean, honestly, it was just a courtesy meeting to discuss what we think, what we would want and what they want, but it was just, there's really nothing set or planned. There's nothing really to report on, and so it's just our first meeting.
I'm just asking.
Any new business? No? Okay. Open to the public. As outlined in Milford Board of Education bylaw 0167, each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes. I seek a motion. Stephanie, seconded by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any comments from the public? Please state your name and town.
I'm Councilwoman Lisa Sandhusen. I'm filling in tonight for Councilman Matt Seymour, so I've got my notes. I have some in my phone as well. I'm not texting notes. So anyway, so I have a couple of announcements to share. I'll be really brief. So we have first coming up, we want to invite you to join us at the Hardcastle Pond on Sunday, October 27th at 6:30 p.m. for this year's ADAM event. That's the Alcohol and Drug Awareness Memorial, and that's in memory of Adam Roth, a Milford High School graduate who was tragically killed by a drunk driver, and to remember those that we have lost to addiction. It's a very nice ceremony if you haven't had a chance to attend. People, there's an opportunity after some speakers to put luminaria into the pond, and it's a very lovely, moving ceremony. So again, our next event coming up, October is pretty busy. Join us Tuesday, October 29th at 6 p.m. for the 6th Annual Domestic Violence Awareness Symposium. That will be held here at the New Milford High School Auditorium. It's free for the public to attend. There's also a live stream option, so people can go to the district's YouTube channel for the live stream. So we will be featuring, featured speaker is Alexis Rulin. She'll be sharing her story. She's a Ramapo College student who survived a kidnapping, and there has been a conviction in that case. So it's a very powerful, moving story. The New York Giants are sponsoring, so they're promoting the event on their social media. So we appreciate the continued partnership with the district to put this event on. It's 6th annual. And we hope to see you at both of those important community events. And on to something lighter. I'm the liaison for the Environmental Commission and the Green Team, and I just wanted to share that there are some volunteer opportunities for people available. And to also inform the community that there are some programs that are and projects that these organizations and committees are working on. So the first one is the Green Team, and I have to look at my paper because, as you are familiar with, every program has very long names, so I want to make sure that I get it right. So the Green Team is going to be launching a residential energy efficiency program, and it is a home energy assessment program. So this is going to be available to all residents. So the partnership is to share information that these initiatives are available for residents of New Milford to participate in. This is a partnership with PSE&G, and this is to improve energy efficiency in their residences. And the Environmental and Energy Commission is going to be starting a community energy planning project, and that's going to be an opportunity for community members and organizations to participate in planning for the larger community. They're going to be working with the planning board and in accordance to the master plan objectives. So it's a very, very exciting project for the community to improve our energy sustainability, resilience, and conservation. And I'm complete, so thank you very much, everyone.
We have a question for you.
Oh, you have a question? Plaque. Oh, the plaque here, and for members of the public, just to, you're referencing the historic plaque. I do not have information about that at this time, and I will be happy to share that it is, that you're interested in hearing updates from my colleagues. Thank
Anyone
you.
else from the public?
Thank you.
Okay, I seek a motion to close the public. Tony, seconded by Nicole, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any board member requests for additional information? Okay, so we will be going into close. It is hereby moved that the Board of Education adjourn into executive session in accordance with the provisions of Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 PL, for the purpose of discussion and consideration of matters pertaining to the following subject. Student matter. The minutes of the executive session will be made available to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. I seek a motion to go and close. Tony, seconded by Stephanie, all in favor? Aye. Opposed. And when we return, we'll be not taking any action. So thank you for coming.